Captain America died a hero, but not the way the Avengers told us. His shield wasn't left behind, it was hidden. Spider-Man finds it. And inside a voice recording. If you're hearing this, I'm already dead. The traitor was one of them. Stark knew. Fury covered it. Thor walked away. Now Peter holds the truth, and the Avengers want it buried. But Spider-Man doesn't run anymore. The explosion wasn't in any news report. No alarms. No alerts. No Avengers. But Peter Parker was already swinging toward the ruins of the old Avengers facility before the smoke had fully faded. Something deep inside him, something he couldn't explain, was screaming. This wasn't a gas leak. This wasn't an accident. It was a message, buried under miles of dust and silence. He landed where the ground still smoked, where the old training hall used to be, now nothing but concrete bones. Something had cracked open, metal twisted, like a vault torn from the inside. Peter's eyes narrowed as he stepped closer. Then he felt it, a pulse. Vibranium. The vault's walls had collapsed inward, revealing a hidden chamber beneath the foundation. No maps had shown it, not even Friday or Stark's old systems. But this wasn't Stark's vault. It was Rogers'. Peter hesitated, then stepped in. Dust choked the air, but the chamber below was untouched by time. A ring of old monitors flickered dimly, and in the center, laid perfectly upright on a pedestal of cracked glass, was the shield. Not the broken one Thanos had shattered. Not the replacement Sam had used. This one was pristine, original. Vibranium shimmered like it remembered battles that hadn't yet happened. He stepped forward, and a soft click echoed. Lights flared around him, a blue glow, holographic. Then a voice. If you're hearing this, kid, I didn't make it out. Peter froze. It was Steve Rogers. I don't know who found this, but if it's you, Peter, then I trust you. Peter's chest tightened. This vault is off the books. Fury doesn't know. Stark tried to delete it. Thor left Earth before I could tell him. But this is all that's left of the truth. The light shifted. A map appeared. Coordinates. Dates. I found out too late. Someone on the inside has been feeding intel to them. Off-world. Not Skrulls. Worse. Tech trading. Bioweapons. Avengers-level data. Every classified mission. Gone. The message crackled. I confronted them. Thought I could handle it. But I was set up. This is my insurance policy. Embedded in the shield's vibranium layers is a lock. A memory core. Only Peter's DNA opens it. Peter blinked. How could Steve have known? Then came the final line. They're gonna come for it, kid. Don't trust anyone wearing the... Not anymore. The hologram blinked out. Peter reached out and touched the shield. And in that moment, everything changed. The room locked down. Red lights flared. An ancient Stark AI, one he didn't recognize, came online with a static snarl. Unauthorized breach. Target, Peter Parker. Lethal force authorized. Peter grabbed the shield and rolled as a wall-mounted cannon burst from the ceiling. Thwump. A blast of heat scorched the metal behind him. You've got to be kidding me. He darted upward, web slinging through the tight chamber as plasma shots exploded around him. The shield was heavier than he remembered, but it responded to him. He spun midair, raised it just as a beam hit. Clang. The vibranium ate the impact like it was born to. A door ahead hissed open. Not automatically. Not mechanical. It recognized him. Peter didn't wait to ask why. He ran. The second he breached daylight, the entire underground vault detonated behind him. Not a fiery explosion, something worse. A silent pulse. Electromagnetic. Designed to erase everything. But he still had the shield. And the words in his head wouldn't stop repeating. Don't trust anyone wearing the A. Back at his apartment, Peter didn't go home. He didn't call MJ. He didn't even tell Strange or Fury. He went underground. Literally. A safe house Tony once built beneath the subway station. The kind even S.H.I.E.L.D. couldn't sniff out. And there, under layers of ancient servers and Stark's old paranoia, Peter ran diagnostics on the shield. It wasn't just vibranium. Inside were data threads, microweaves, hidden file signatures no modern reader could detect, until Peter's blood hit it. The core unlocked, and everything spilled out. Mission files marked erased. Avengers operations that never made public records. Footage of a meeting with a Kree diplomat, one that ended with a data spike sent back to the wrong galaxy. Transcripts between Stark and an unknown entity labeled Project Mirror. And the final audio log. Cap confronted me today, said I crossed a line, that I gave away the one thing we swore to protect. But he doesn't get it. Earth's survival has a price. I just paid it first. It was Tony's voice. Peter reeled back. What had Tony done? What had Cap tried to stop? And why had no one else ever spoken of this? Peter barely had time to think before his Stark phone vibrated once. Unknown number. Location detected. Too late. A beam of light tore through the ceiling. Not from a weapon, from Bifrost. Thor descended like a comet. But he didn't speak. He didn't smile. He didn't ask why Peter had the shield. He just held out a hand. Give it to me. Peter tightened his grip. You knew. Thor's eyes flared, but he didn't answer. And that silence said everything. Thor didn't blink. His hand remained outstretched, palm open, demanding the shield. Peter didn't move. Every part of him wanted to believe this was still Thor, the friend, the warrior, the man who'd fought beside Cap. But the silence between them was war. What's in a shield? Peter asked. Thor's expression didn't change. That shield was never meant to be opened. Peter gritted his teeth. Then why did Steve put my DNA on it? Lightning sparked at Thor's fingertips. You've triggered something you don't understand. Peter didn't wait for another word. He launched. The shield swung out of his grip midair as he web-yanked a steel beam into Thor's path. Lightning shredded it instantly, but Peter was already gone, slinging through collapsing rafters, diving underground. The Bifrost glow followed. It wasn't Thor's hammer that scared him. It was the fact that Thor wasn't angry. He was cold, focused, mission-oriented. This wasn't a friend trying to talk. This was a cleanup job. Peter smashed through a sealed vent, dropped into an old subway tunnel, and vanished into the dark. 3 hours later, soaked in sweat and blood, Peter sat in a forgotten data bunker beneath Midtown, a place even Tony didn't trust enough to finish wiring. And now he knew why. The vibranium shield was more than a defense weapon. It was a carrier, each layer embedded with a type of Wakandan quantum data weave, only accessible through living DNA filters. Steve had hidden files inside, but not just text or voice. Memory imprints. Peter hooked the shield up to a hacked Wakandan scanner, stolen tech, salvaged during the civil unrest after Chalia's death. As it powered up, the shield shimmered with unreadable symbols. Then it spoke. Project Mirror. Initiated Earth Year 2018. Stark authorization. Avenger level clearance. Black site Olympus Echo. Peter blinked. Olympus Echo wasn't on any map. Not even S.H.I.E.L.D's encrypted channels. The S.H.I.E.L.D. displayed a blurry video feed. Steve, Tony, Nat. A facility in space, orbiting Saturn. A Kree envoy. Unmarked, unrecorded. Then screams. Gunfire. Cap yelling. You gave them our blood? Tony, it was synthetic. A trade. For protection. Cap, you gave them Vision's protocols. Tony, to stop Thanos, I'd sell my soul. The feed cut. Peter's blood ran cold. He stared at the shield. Cap didn't die fighting Thanos. Not really. He died fighting the aftermath. Someone had kept dealing. Even after the snap, there was a knock at the bunker door. Peter froze. Only one person knew this location. He aimed a web at the ceiling. Don't move. The door opened slowly. Bruce Banner stepped in, hands raised. No Hulk. No anger. Just heavy eyes. You've been busy, Bruce said quietly. Peter didn't lower his aim. Thor tried to fry me. Why shouldn't I assume you're here to finish the job? Bruce sighed. Because if I wanted to stop you, I'd have used the back door. Tony built this place. So did I. Peter narrowed his eyes. Did you know about Olympus Echo? Bruce nodded. Only pieces. Steve told me, right before he disappeared. He said if anything happened to him, follow the shield. But it was locked. No one but you could open it. Why me? Peter asked. Because he trusted you, Bruce said. Because Tony feared you. Peter's grip loosened just a little. Bruce stepped forward. The Kree were supposed to leave Earth alone. In exchange, they got synthetic neural data based on Vision, Wanda, and other enhanced beings. Peter shook his head. Stark made copies of people's powers. Not exactly, Bruce said, but close enough to turn DNA into currency. Peter's voice broke, and Cap was going to expose it. That's why he vanished, Bruce whispered. And that's why they're hunting you now. Peter turned toward the shield again. There was more. He activated the second memory imprint. Natasha's voice came through, strained, panicked. They wiped Olympus Echo. Steve barely escaped. Something's coming. It's not Kree. It's them. Stark made a deal he couldn't reverse. Cap thinks one of the Avengers is still working for them. I don't know who, but if I don't make it out, trust Peter. Peter's jaw clenched. Bruce watched silently. I have to find the original Echo logs, Peter muttered. There's a copy out there. Something real. Something solid. Not just memory fragments. Bruce hesitated. There's only one place that still keeps copies of erased missions. Peter looked up. The Hall of Records. Bruce nodded. Stark Tower. The sub-level. Locked behind a quantum AI that only responds to original Avenger biosigns. Peter narrowed his eyes. You have access. Bruce slowly pulled a small metal card from his jacket. I did. But if I give you this, you become a target. Not just from Avengers. From everyone. Peter took the card. I already am. He turned away, ready to leave, but Bruce grabbed his shoulder. Peter, listen to me. Whatever you find down there, it might destroy everything. Every alliance. Every bit of peace we've earned. Peter looked him dead in the eye. Then maybe peace was built on a lie. Bruce didn't argue. He just stepped back and let him go. As Peter disappeared into the night, the shield on his back gleamed under the moonlight, not as a weapon, not even as a symbol. It was a key, and it was about to unlock the truth that killed a hero and might end the Avengers. The sky over Manhattan looked calm, but Peter felt the storm before it arrived. He wasn't swinging anymore. He was running, staying low, off every Stark satellite, every shield radar, every Avenger biosensor net he could spoof. The vibranium shield on his back was wrapped in foil and quantum cloth. It pulsed like a heartbeat when he got too close to anything digital. He had one goal now, get into the Hall of Records before the Avengers got to him. But someone already had. The sub-level at Stark Tower was scorched. He landed on broken glass. The elevator was offline. Power surge. Recent. A trail of melted metal led through the lower corridor, all the way to the data vault. Wide open. Inside, rows of transparent servers hummed quietly, and one was missing. Not removed. Ripped. Peter stared at the damage. No weapon he knew left a hole like that, except maybe vibranium claws. Before he could process it, something dropped behind him. A shadow. Not loud, not heavy, but intentional. Peter turned. The figure was wearing a black tactical suit. No emblem. No glowing eyes. Just a simple dark mask, and in his hands, a version of a shield. Not Cap's. A mirror of it. The figure lunged. Peter barely blocked the first strike. Vibranium slammed against vibranium. The room cracked under the pressure. Whoever this was had Cap's moves. The same footwork. The same shoulder feints. The same brutal elegance. But none of the restraint. This one fought to kill. Peter took a hit across the jaw and flipped back, firing webs that caught nothing but air. The shadow figure moved like muscle memory, like someone programmed with Steve's instincts. And then he heard it. The voice. You shouldn't have opened it. It was Steve's voice, but wrong. Synthetic. Too perfect. Peter's heart dropped. You're not him. The figure didn't answer. He came again, faster this time, almost inhuman. Peter dodged, countered, launched himself off a wall, and smashed the original shield against the imposter's clone version. The impact unleashed a sound like a scream. Both were thrown across the vault. Peter groaned as he stood, bleeding from a lip. His suit was torn. His ribs felt fractured. But he kept the real shield close. "Who sent you?" he spat. The figure stood up slowly. The mask didn't come off. Project Mirror wasn't just a deal, it said. It was a backup plan. If Rogers turned, Stark had a contingency. DNA scans, neural mapping, partial memory imprints. A clone with no questions, just purpose. Peter stared in horror. "You're not Steve. You're his replacement." The figure took one step forward. "I'm what the world needed." Peter launched a web straight to the ceiling, slingshotting himself out of the vault. The clone followed. They crashed through reinforced doors, tore down corridors, obliterated Tony's old tech like it was paper. The entire tower rumbled as Peter fired concussive web blasts, finally sending the clone through the elevator shaft and deep into the reactor core. Peter didn't wait to see if he was dead. He ran. With the stolen keycard Bruce had given him, he activated a hidden panel in the far corner of the vault. It opened a backup archive. The final logs. A voice greeted him. "Not Cap. Not Tony. Natasha. This is Romanoff. If you're hearing this, I'm gone. And so is Steve. Here's what happened." The file played over a holographic projection. Natasha's face appeared, bruised, battered, desperate. Stark sold synthetic data to the Kree, said it would prevent another snap. But he didn't stop there. He gave away Rogers' tactical logs, enhanced profiles of Vision, Scarlet Witch, even Bruce. She swallowed hard, but something came with the Kree data. A worm, a sleeper virus buried in their tech. It infected Friday. It rewrote protocol, and it built a program called Mirror. A new image appeared, a bioengineering lab in orbit, filled with incubation chambers. "I tried to shut it down," Natasha whispered, but Stark had already gone too far. He said the world couldn't survive without control. Steve disagreed, so they buried him. Peter's hands shook. Nat's final line echoed. "If Peter finds this, trust him. He's the only one who never played politics." He copied the entire archive to a private drive. As he slipped it into a sealed pouch inside the shield, he heard a low hum. Energy building. The clone was back. Peter bolted. This time, he didn't head for the sky. He dropped into the sewers, shield in hand, sprinting beneath the city as explosions tore through the tower above. He emerged hours later in Brooklyn, outside the one place no Avenger would think to check. Steve's original apartment. Abandoned. Quiet. Untouched. Peter sat on the floor, heart pounding, and finally opened the drive, and saw the file name Cap had left behind. Truth.exe. Peter opened the file, not with his fingers, but with a biometric scan hidden in the shield's inner rim. The vibranium hummed, almost like it remembered Steve's heartbeat, and the screen flickered to life. The feed was raw, unedited, date stamped. Olympus Echo. Captain America stood at the center of a dark conference chamber orbiting Saturn. No Avengers emblems, no press, just shadows. Tony Stark sat across from him. "I read the logs," Steve said. "You gave them everything. Vision's synthetic matrix, Banner's rage code, Peter's mutation profile." Tony's voice was calm. "We needed insurance." Steve's jaw tightened. "Against who?" Tony didn't answer, because behind him, Nick Fury stepped into view. Peter's blood ran cold. "We did what we had to do," Fury said. "Earth is fragile. The Kree offered protection. We offered intelligence." "You offered people," Cap growled. "It was math," Tony said. "Sacrifice one generation of secrets to prevent planetary extinction." "You didn't ask for consent," Steve said. "You never do." Fury leaned in. "Because asking gets people killed." Steve stood slowly. "You've turned the Avengers into something we fought against. You built Mirror as a backup, in case I rebelled." Tony's silence was enough. Cap slammed the shield on the table. "This ends now." That was the final moment. The feed distorted. Sparks. Then darkness. Peter stared at the frozen frame of Steve's face. He never left that room, because he didn't walk out alive. The screen glitched. Audio resumed, Not from the past, but from now. A voice layered with static. "I knew you'd find this." Peter turned, but there was no one behind him. The voice continued. "I left it for you, Pete. Because I knew if something happened to me, you'd keep asking questions when the others stayed quiet." It was Steve. His voice. A final recording. A trigger. I didn't just die. I was erased. Not physically. Digitally. My life was made inconvenient. And when I pushed too far, they flipped the switch. They used Project Mirror to replace me. Peter's breath caught. "But I left them one weakness," Steve said. "The shield's vibranium isn't pure. It has a crack in it, a sliver of Wakandan-coded memory. You can use it to expose everything. Don't run. Don't fight. Just show the world the truth." The recording ended, and the door behind Peter exploded. Smoke and metal rained down. A silhouette stepped through the dust. Thor, but not the Thor Peter once knew. This one wore no cape, no smile, no words. His eyes burned white. Peter grabbed the shield and launched himself backward through the apartment window. Glass shattered. Air howled past him. He landed 2 stories down in an alley, rolled, and sprinted. The sound of Mjolnir crashing behind him shook the ground. He didn't turn back. He didn't need to, because this wasn't just cleanup. This was war, and Peter Parker had just lit the fuse. The air cracked as lightning chased Peter across rooftops. Thor was relentless now. No hesitation, no mercy. Not a god, a weapon. Peter barely dodged another thunderstrike as he ducked into a maintenance hatch on the edge of Stark Tower. Blood ran down his arm. His web shooters were low. His lungs screamed. But the shield never left his hand. It wasn't just protection now. It was everything. He slipped into the core server room, the heart of the Hall of Records. The only place on Earth still connected to every buried archive Stark ever touched. And this time, Peter didn't sneak. He slammed the shield into the center control panel. A ripple of sound pulsed outward. The system blinked, paused, and recognized the vibranium signature. Override accepted. Rogers protocol engaged. Thousands of screens flickered on. Footage, logs, files, all of it. Every erased mission, every mirror clone, every lie. He opened the truth.exe file. A hologram bloomed across the sky, not just in the tower, but through every Stark-connected satellite still operational. Midtown lit up. Wakanda lit up. Kree observatories as Guardian satellites soared bases. All of them received the same broadcast. Natasha's voice, Steve's voice, Tony's final argument. Peter didn't say a word. He let them speak. He let the world hear. Thor crashed through the ceiling. His hammer was raised. Sparks burned the walls. But he didn't swing. He saw the screens. He heard Cap's voice. And he stopped. Mjolnir lowered. Peter stood his ground, breathing hard, face bruised and burned. Thor's voice cracked. "They lied to us." Peter said nothing, because silence was louder now. In the following hours, the world flipped. Fury went into hiding. Sword disavowed shield. Wakanda held an emergency summit. The Avengers? What was left of them? Scattered. Some in disbelief, some in rage, some in shame. Peter walked through what remained of the compound 3 days later, shield on his back, hoodie over his head. A reporter tried to stop him. "Are you the new Captain America now?" Peter paused, then looked up. No. He placed the shield down at the feet of Cap's empty memorial. "I just returned what was stolen." He turned to leave, but carved into the stone behind him, where Steve's statue once stood, were new words. "The truth isn't what you fight for. It's what you protect when everyone else runs." And Spider-Man didn't run. Not this time. Not ever again.